Hi, welcome to Part of My Frenchie. This is me, 143. If you don't have a friend, you have one now. So today, I want to kind of tackle a different kind of theme. I just came back from a small family vacation. Um, Went to Disney World, and on my adventure to Disney World, I had kind of had a different kind of way of looking at things, as I kind of do with a lot of um, things in life. I was looking at Disney World as this, of course, magical place that everyone says that it's the most, happiest place on earth, magical place, that you go for memories and good times and so forth. And which is true, which is great, which Disney puts a lot of effort and work into everything that they do. And as some people just may go and ride rides, I really take pride in actually, and when I ride the rides, I look at everything and I really appreciate the hard work and dedication that goes into the artwork on these things. And I'm not going to lie, I probably maybe put too much work, or I put too much attention into the work that goes into these things, because I will tell you, whatever genius minds go behind creating these masterpieces, they do an amazing job at Disney. I do have to give them credit. Now, mind you, Disney is pricey, um, but with that being said, they don't disappoint. They You pay for it, but with that, you do get an experience. You are literally paying for an experience. So with that being said, it's not like you're paying a lot of money and not getting anything out of it. So, it's a give and take. Now, also with that being said, it kind of makes me sad in the sense that, it's difficult for a large family, if they can't afford it, to be able to go and enjoy a place like that, because it is a beautiful place to go, and especially for young children to be able to see something that nice and that wonderful is just, I think every child should be able to experience something like that. But with that being said, as I go through these rides and I see all these um, just amazing pieces of scenery, I, of course, I always think of this channel, and I think of the things that, you know, I do with my sets, and things that, I like to change things up. And I always try to think of, oh gosh, I wish I had the creativity behind some of the things that they do at Disney. And I'm always trying to think of, next things that I'm going to do with this channel, and so forth. So anyways, in one of my conversations, I had mentioned that, about doing another interview. Well, somebody had brought up to me that it was hard to want to do the interview because the topic is depressing. Pet loss is depressing. And that's true. That is true in a sense. Okay. And let me kind of break it down to you. The topic of pet loss is sad. We all know that. However, as I explained to them, the reason why this channel exists, and I'll kind of back up, the whole reason behind why this whole thing exists is to help other people. It's not to make people sad. It's not to get likes. It's not to get subscribes, which is nice. But it's to help people. Backing up, years and years and years ago, when I had first lost my dog Sammy, it was a very, very hard experience on me. Not going to lie. It was an extremely hard experience on me. It was probably my first adult dog. It actually was my first adult dog, or my first dog as an adult, I should say, that I had lost. And I couldn't figure out why. I couldn't wrap my head around the loss. And it went on for, gosh, weeks, months. And I would just go through, periods of time where I would just break down and cry. And I couldn't figure out, my family, their grieving process went a little bit differently than mine. And so their process was a lot quicker than mine, which was fine. Everybody's process is different. And again, I couldn't wrap my head around why I was struggling. And that's when I dove in and I studied, and I found that what I was going through was perfectly normal and that there was nothing wrong with me. So then I proceeded to go ahead and get certified and do more studying on pet loss and grief, and then started pet loss support groups and found that there were more people out there in the world that also felt the same way that I did. Hence the development of my groups and outreach so that other people would not feel alone. Fast forward to today, which is where this channel is. And if I can reach more people to let them know that what they are feeling, or if they are struggling with pet loss and grief, that it is perfectly normal what you're going through, that is the reasoning behind this. So, is pet loss sad? Yes. The end of any life, whether it's a human life or end of a pet's life, is sad. The journey up until the life of the pet is absolutely beautiful. The life that you have prior to the loss of your pet is absolutely beautiful. The time that you have with your pet, the time that your family has with your pet is absolutely beautiful. And so when we talk about our interviews, the interviews that we've had on, and we talk about the whole journey prior to, that's a beautiful part. That's the part that we capture. And the end part is only a small part. And yes, that part is sad, but the beautiful part that you guys get to see is you guys get to hear about that whole first part. Now, when I was doing meetings prior to this channel, I was the lucky one that used to get to hear all that stuff. And not a lot of other people did. And so I was so humbled and so blessed that people would let me in on their lives and those personal moments. Because honestly, with pets and people in their family lives, those are intimate moments. Not everybody gets those moments. So, to be able to have people come on and share those stories with, whoever tunes into this channel, I mean, that is such a blessing to be able to have, welcome other people in and say, hey, wow, this is, something that was important in my life and I want to share it with you. So anyways, so I thought, yeah, it is, the stories are sad, but that the sad part is only the small part. The beautiful part is the whole beginning, is the whole, when you first brought that creature into your life and the whole journey prior to. That's the beautiful part. And so when I was looking at Disney, I'm like, pet loss and Disney kind of go hand in hand, right? And you're like, Jen, you're crazy. How does Disney World and pet loss go hand in hand? Well, they're very similar. They're very similar in the fact of they're magical, right? You have the story, you have this beautiful story. And even if you look at Disney movies, every Disney movie, there's always a bad part. Bambi, beginning of Bambi starts out bad. Bambi's mom gets shot, right? Nemo, Finding Nemo. Nemo's mom gets eaten right in the first scene, right? Um, Anna and Elsa, Frozen, their parents are killed. I mean, every Disney movie, there's a tragedy in it. And yet, it's a magical movie. You don't scrap the movie because of something bad. So why in Petloss will we scrap the whole story because of one bad moment? Instead of taking the story and lifting it up into something magical. And so when you take, then if you reframe Petloss, and if we rename it into something else, so that it isn't so quote unquote sad, it can be just as magical as anything. And again, why would you scrap the movie Bambi because Bambi's mom is taken in the first scene? Why would you scrap a great movie like Finding Nemo because the mom is lost in the first scene? You wouldn't, because that's also how life is. Life isn't perfect, and that is what Disney tries to teach you as well. Disney teaches you that there are going to be bad things in the world, but you don't scrap life because of bad things. You celebrate life because no matter what happens in life, you gotta celebrate the wins. You gotta celebrate the good times. You gotta celebrate, the happy moments, the moments that you can look back and say, yeah, that was a great time. I was very blessed on the way home. And this is another thing too, if and I'll challenge you to this too. This is something that it's kind of a guilty pleasure of mine, so to speak. Part of one of the things that being in Petloss, I met a wonderful person on the flight home, and he was from Columbus, and he was very, very, very wonderful person that actually helped my son with a charger, and just absolutely wonderful person. Ended up sitting next to us on the plane ride home. We talked about several things, and I had asked him if he had had any dogs growing up, or dogs in his life. And so here's the key to this. He had said that he had some Rottweilers, and if you look at people when they talk about their pets, especially pets that have passed or were previous in their lives, you can tell the ones that were extremely special to them. A, because they'll bring those ones up first. But B, it's almost like a movie. And if you ever watch a movie, and you can you're going to think I'm crazy. But if you ever see a movie, and you can see kind of how they do flashbacks in a movie. But if you ever ask somebody about their pets, especially the ones that have passed, you can almost see, like if it's a flashback in a movie, the minute that they start talking about that pet that has passed, they'll tell you the basics of it, which is fine. But you can see in their mind them replaying a memory. You could see it through their eyes. But this very kind man, I could tell when he was telling me about his Rottweiler that had passed at 8 or 9 years old, I could tell in his mind that he was playing some sort of beautiful memory in his mind. And you could tell in his eyes, and you can tell in his face that he loved that dog. And to me, that was a magical moment. And to me, I was lucky to be able to share it with him. Even though I wasn't in his head. I don't know where he was in that moment, but I don't even know if he had thought of that moment in how many years. But sometimes it's kind of nice to stop what you're doing in life and remember something happy. And remember a moment when maybe things weren't as crazy in your life. Maybe it was a moment that, just it was a good time, or things weren't as, you know, I don't know, just things were different. But you could see the magic, kind of like Disney. You could see the magic of just a memory that came back that was like, I remember that dog. And that was a good dog. And I love that dog. That was a good time then. So it's magical. It's not sad. And yeah, it's sad that maybe that dog's not there anymore. But the magical thing is, I was lucky to have that moment. I was lucky and I was blessed to have that dog in my life. I was lucky that that dog was part of my family at one time. And I don't know where the road's going to lead me. But I know that one day I'll be with that dog again. And again, just like anything, you don't scrap the whole movie just because of a bad moment. You don't scrap the whole journey because you stub your toe. You don't scrap the whole situation because you get lost in the woods, or because you run into a bad person or a wicked witch. You don't scrap it all because of something bad. You keep going. That's the message. You keep going. And if anything that movies teach our kids or teach us is that, yeah, things in life sometimes aren't great, or they don't end up the way that they're supposed to be. But it doesn't mean that every moment was not great. And it doesn't mean that we don't cherish the moments or celebrate the moments that we did have. Because those are the ones that we hang on to. Those are the ones that we celebrate and we look back on and we smile. And even if we keep those moments to ourselves, and even if we never tell anybody about them, the good thing is they're ours and nobody can take them from us. And as much as, I encourage everybody to, celebrate the past, celebrate the present. I would love as many people as possible to get on here and tell their stories about their pets that they've had, because as many as we can celebrate their lives, all you do is, again, you help other people. You keep their spirits alive. That when I had my group, I would constantly tell people, the more you talk about your pets that you've lost, the more that you heal from it, the more that you celebrate their lives, you lift them up, and you keep their spirits alive. And that's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing. You're giving back to them the unconditional love that they gave you, which is it's just an amazing thing. So again, if you have a story that you would love to tell, I would love to have you on. Because again, let's celebrate life. Let's keep the magic going. Let's help other people. It's just, again, it's just a great, great thing. So till next time, if you don't have a friend, you have one now. In the comments below, I will have the email address if you would like to reach out and have your story told and celebrate your pets. I would love to have you on. It doesn't have to be a dog. It could be a cat, it could be a bird, it could be a reptile, it could be a fish, it could be a naked mole rat, whatever you got. Reach out to me, hit the like and subscribe button. I would love to hear from you. And I will give this plug to Gideon's Bakery in Disney Springs. I did stop by there. I actually looked up their information online. I did some research about them. They are a fabulous bakery in Disney Springs. Just happened to stop in on them. I didn't know anything about their bakery until I was there on Monday. Fabulous bakery, fabulous story behind them. The staff there was amazing, and I'll put some information at the end of this video about them. But if you get a chance, get online. I'll have their information in the bio or in the comments below as well. But yeah, if you get a chance to, or if you're in Disney Springs, stop on over there. Looks like it's just it just, it was wonderful, absolutely wonderful. Everything that I had there was, the cookies were amazing, the cake was amazing, and the artwork was just amazing. Just a great, great place. And again, the staff was just wonderful. So if you get a chance to get out there to Disney Springs, please stop there and check them out. So hit the like and subscribe button. If you don't have friends, you have one now, and we will see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.